Imagine knowing the exact day of your death. At first glance, it might seem like a concept straight out of a science fiction novel. But consider the reality of such knowledge. If every person knew the precise day they would die, it would fundamentally alter not just personal decisions, but the very structure of society. From the way we approach work to how we value relationships, the impact would be profound and far-reaching. In this video, we'll explore how knowing our death date could change everything, from how we live to how we structure laws and navigate daily life. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to stay updated on more thought-provoking content. First, let's consider how this knowledge would affect our work and career priorities. If the exact date of death was known, many people would likely shift their focus away from traditional career ambitions. The desire for financial stability and job advancement might lose its grip on individuals who could now see their time as finite. Rather than climbing the corporate ladder, people might prioritize their passions and personal fulfillment, seeking more balance between work and life. This could give rise to a surge in entrepreneurial ventures, as people would be more inclined to take risks and follow their true interests, knowing they don't have forever. The corporate world, on the other hand, might face a crisis as industries reliant on long-term planning, such as finance, real estate, and investments, would likely struggle in an environment where short-term goals took precedence. Laws surrounding retirement, pensions, and employment contracts would need to undergo significant changes to reflect the shorter timelines of workers, with a new emphasis on flexible working arrangements and career changes later in life. The impact on social relationships and family dynamics would also be profound. Some people might choose to cherish every moment with their loved ones, fostering stronger connections and prioritizing family time. Others, however, could retreat into themselves, unable or unwilling to confront the looming reality of their inevitable end. Relationships might take on new urgency, but the fear of mortality could also push people away, leading to more fleeting, less committed connections. Friendships and family ties would likely become more precious, but at the same time, individuals may start to question the value of long-term commitments like marriage. The institution of marriage itself could undergo a transformation, with people possibly opting for more fluid, short-term relationships. The way inheritance laws are handled would also shift, as individuals, knowing the exact time of their death, would plan their estates with unprecedented certainty. Guardianship laws might need revision to ensure that children or dependents are cared for with more immediate attention, and not just long-term projections. The legal and financial systems would face an overwhelming overhaul if everyone knew their death date. Estate planning, wills, and insurance policies would become far more accurate, allowing individuals to precisely allocate their assets. However, this knowledge might also lead to a wave of high-risk investments. People would likely be more willing to gamble on opportunities knowing exactly when their time would end, leading to a boom in speculative markets. Laws around inheritance could evolve into more dynamic frameworks, considering the heightened urgency of managing wealth with a fixed end in mind. Financial institutions might need to create entirely new systems to accommodate this new model of life. People could negotiate shorter mortgage terms or create short-term lease agreements based on their predicted timelines. Social security and insurance policies would likely be reworked as well to provide more tailored plans based on the specific end dates of individuals. From a healthcare standpoint, the medical system would transform dramatically. With the certainty of an end date, healthcare would likely shift from a focus on disease prevention and longevity to one that prioritizes quality of life. People would begin to opt for palliative care and comfort-focused treatments earlier, as they would no longer see the need to extend their lives beyond a certain point. On the other hand, medical advancements that typically promise to extend life might no longer hold the same appeal. If additional years of life were not going to meaningfully contribute to personal goals or fulfillment, individuals may prefer to avoid such interventions altogether. As a result, the conversation surrounding euthanasia and assisted suicide would gain even more traction, with individuals demanding more control over when and how they die. In the realm of crime and punishment, the certainty of death could completely alter the way society handles justice. For example, Would someone facing the death penalty feel as much fear knowing their time of death is already determined? Would long prison sentences still act as a deterrent if individuals knew they had a limited amount of time left, regardless of their actions? The shift could be dramatic. The justice system might move away from punitive measures and focus more on rehabilitation, with the understanding that each individual's time for change is finite. However, the knowledge of a fixed death date might also make some people more indifferent to societal rules, knowing that the clock is ticking regardless of their behavior. Philosophically, the knowledge of when we will die could lead to radical changes in our views on morality and ethics. For some, the awareness of a limited lifespan might lead to greater compassion as individuals realize the fleeting nature of life. People may feel compelled to live with more kindness, generosity, and purpose, striving to make the most of their remaining time. For others, however, the certainty of death could foster a more nihilistic outlook, where personal pleasure and self-interest take precedence over all else. The laws surrounding ethical conduct could need to evolve, as society would have to reckon with this shift in collective mindset. Would society still hold people accountable for actions when the knowledge of an inevitable end hangs over everyone? Traditional moral frameworks could be challenged by the awareness that death is not a distant concept, but an imminent reality, and this might change how people view the consequences of their choices. Cultural norms and traditions would also likely undergo significant transformations. The way people celebrate life milestones, like weddings, birthdays, and retirements, might shift from grand long-term events to more spontaneous, immediate celebrations that embrace the present. People might place less value on planning for distant futures and instead focus on living fully in the moment. Funeral practices could also evolve, with mourning rituals adapting to the more predictable nature of death. Instead of focusing on mourning for years, society might adopt new ways to celebrate the lives of those who pass, possibly creating new forms of memorialization that focus on honoring life while it's lived, rather than dwelling on death. Such changes would reflect the broader societal shift toward accepting mortality as a known quantity, not a mysterious or terrifying unknown. The psychological impact of knowing when one will die cannot be underestimated. For some, this knowledge might bring a sense of peace. It would allow individuals to plan their final years with certainty, ensuring they live in a way that aligns with their values and desires. But for others, the thought of a fixed end date could lead to crippling anxiety or depression. The awareness that one's time is limited might amplify existential crises, leading people to question the meaning of their lives or spiral into despair. Lastly, the certainty of a death date could potentially deepen social inequalities. Wealthy individuals might use their time to focus on self-improvement and self-actualization, knowing they have a fixed end, while those in poverty could find themselves further trapped by their circumstances. With time ticking away, the urgency to succeed or achieve could be overwhelming for those without the resources to make significant changes. If everyone knew the exact day of their death, society would undergo a radical transformation. We would likely see shifts in our work habits, our relationships, our laws, and our philosophical views on life. While it's impossible to predict every possible outcome, it's clear that such knowledge would require a fundamental reevaluation of how we live and interact. So, what do you think? How would you live if you knew the exact day of your death? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions.